story blocks.
All right, on Blitz we have head coach Jason Gibson of the Banks County Lady Leopards. Coach, always a pleasure to come and talk to you about your teams, and congrats on a great season, and thank you for being on Blitz.
Thank you for having us, Brian. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, wasn't too long ago you took over this Banks County program. Talk about being able to come in and take over a program that already had so much success over the years and add to that success, maybe raise the bar a little bit and put your own stamp on it.
Banks County has a great tradition in women's basketball and a lot of sports. So being able to come in and have some expectations that are already kind of high, and it's been great. The kids have been awesome. It hasn't always been, as smooth of a ride as you'd like. I mean, change is hard. It takes time, but this group has really, since mid-December, has really kind of bought in and really turned things around. It's a credit to the kids. And I feel like our coaches have done a great job too, but it's a credit to the girls. They've really bought in for each other and really worked hard. So we're just excited that we can kind of continue what's been started and hopefully add to it a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like this program has a knack over the years of putting together these long win streaks, and you're on, knocking on wood, you're on a 20-game win streak. That's pretty incredible. What's that like as a coach, being in that? How do you, there's challenges with it. How do you kind of keep your team focused on each and every night and not getting caught up in that? And what are the keys to having a run that has that much consistency to it?
I think for us, and our girls will tell you the same thing, we really don't talk about it. We really have not had one conversation about it as a group. Our motto has kind of been one game at a time, and just, the most important game is the next game on the schedule. And that's kind of how we've approached everything all year. It's how we've approached things, for the last 2 months, and it's how we'll approach this next game coming up. I mean, there's, the only thing that matters is the next one. So I think that's kind of, and I think, you could approach it lots of different ways, but for us, I think that's been the best thing for us to do is just try to keep our kids focused on the only one that really matters, and that's the next one that you got to play.
Yep. I want to talk about the Murphy twins a little bit.
Sure.
They're just a phenomenal duo, and it's just awesome to see any one of them, really any player on your roster could take over at any point. But talk about the Murphy girls in particular, how valuable you feel they've been to the success of this team, and adding in Ansley Moore, who's been able to come in and just run the point for you.
Right. Well, first of all, Reese and Riley are they are super talented girls. They can do so many different things. They both shoot the ball really well, which is kind of what they get known for. But I think the biggest strides that they've made have been on the defensive end of the floor. They're both super long and they're active. Really great anticipation. They do a great job getting in the passing lanes. Both of them have had multiple games where they've had over 10 deflections in a game. Both are averaging over 4 steals a game. So they do a great job of setting the tone on that end. And then, when you combine the fact that they both can fill it up, that's 2 1,000-point scorers. So having the opportunity to coach 2 kids that can put the ball in the hole like that has been a lot of fun. It lets us kind of get creative on offense. We do a lot of things for them to put the ball in their hands. And, we kind of, I trust them. I've told them all year long, I believe in both of you, and I trust both of you to make great decisions. And, when we get you the ball in those scoring areas, pull the trigger. And they've done a great job with that. And so I'm excited about them and where they've come, and hopefully where we continue to go with it.
Yeah, and Ansley, adding her to that mix as well. What has that done to the dynamic of the team, having her run the point and kind of take the pressure off of others on the team to handle the ball?
So Ansley has great leadership skills. I mean, just intangibles and things that you don't really talk about or even maybe expect her to do. She just kind of does them instinctively. She's an extremely intense kid on the court. She does a good job of trying to hold our kids accountable. She gets a little excited sometimes. We have to kind of rein her back in a little bit, but it's all for good intentions. I mean, it's all because she wants to win. But she's a selfless leader. She isn't concerned about who scores or who does what, as long as we score and we get the win. So she's been a wonderful addition. I mean, and not just to our basketball program. She's been a fantastic addition to the hallways. I mean, she's fantastic in the classroom. She's involved in lots of other activities. So she's just a great kid to have around. So we're super excited about her.
Absolutely, and a standout on in cross country as well, which is
And
pretty
track
cool.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, track as well. So a lot of teams, obviously you have goals you set out for. Share, if you don't mind, some of the goals you set out for this year, and maybe a motto or a key theme or message you've kind of been delivering the girls this year and how they've rallied around that.
Right. Well, we talked early in the year about work wins, and there's no shortcut to championships. And I think early in the season, we were tough on the girls intentionally. Our coaching staff was. We kind of got after them and really challenged them. And we played a tough early season schedule, which I think has paid off in the long run. I think we were in some really some tough games against some good competition early, and I think once we were able to kind of hit our stride here from mid-December on, I think some of those games have really paid off that we played early. But we kind of set some goals early in the season. A few of those were undefeated at home, which we didn't quite. We ended up losing one here to Cherokee Bluff. And then, of course, still playing at home, throughout the state tournament. But we wanted to win the region championship. We wanted to make a deep run and win a state championship. So we kind of laid those out, and the kids have talked about them. But again, kind of goes back to what we talked about before. We realize in order to reach those goals, you can't get caught looking ahead. You got to take one game at a time, and which is why tomorrow night is such an important thing for us. We regardless of what happened in the first couple of games, we want to make sure we're ready to play. Yeah. And we respect Rabun County, but we're gonna play Banks County Lady Leopard basketball. Yeah. So
now there's a reason that's a cliche, is one game at a time, and so y'all have done that well. And exactly where I was going next is that big game tomorrow night. Being a region rival, mm-hmm. Over the years these teams have just battled it out in this region. So how special is it to be able to play each other this deep in the tournament in the Elite Eight and get it on the home floor? And like you said, what's the mindset going in where you got to toss the scores of the previous results in the trash can and focus on that night?
Right. I think that's with any state tournament game. I don't think just because it's Rabun that it makes it any more or less complicated. I think you do that with any state tournament game. You can't get caught comparing scores, and you can't get caught looking at who played who. And because it's a region game, obviously there's a familiarity there, us with them with us. But I would expect some wrinkles tomorrow night from both sides. I mean, I have no doubt that they'll do some things differently than they probably did the first couple of times. And, our kids, we talked about it yesterday at practice. We'll talk about it again today. And we'll have some things that we kind of held back, that we didn't do a lot during the regular season, just so there's not a lot of film on it. And, so we'll have some things that we'll be ready to do as well. So, it's one of those nights where, regardless of whether it was a region team or not, the expectation is that our kids show up and prepare the way we've prepared all year, which is one game at a time. And, to some degree, it's a nameless, faceless opponent. I mean, we want to play our brand of basketball, and who we're playing, we want to make that irrelevant. We just want to play our brand and play our game.
Yeah. Well, that's worked for you so far. Congratulations on what's been an amazing season, and can't wait to see what you do in the next several days.
Thanks, Brian. We appreciate you very much.